going on with this whole thing? Okay, so usually, let's talk basics for the First Lady. For those of you that don't even know what the First Lady is, usually the First Lady is referred to as the wife of the president. That is their official title when they enter the White House. They, at a certain point in time, they were considered to be the most famous woman in America back when the president had that much influence. But I bet you right now, there are 50% of Americans who cannot name who the First Lady of the United States is right now. I'll tell you right now, her name is Jill Biden. Now you know. Jill, not Joe. Um, but listen, for the most part, the role of the First Lady is filled by spouses, partners, significant others, whatever you want to call it. And there have actually been a few occasions where there has been non-spouses as well. So there's one situation with Thomas Jefferson, whose wife died way before he got elected to become president. And so his daughter took over the First Lady role, and she was assisted by another later First Lady by the name of Dolly Madison, who served as First Lady under James Madison. So, for the most part, when the First Lady role was initially brought to perspective, like many things in America, when it came to women, it was a ceremonial role in the White House for the most part. Basically, people called you the social chair. You were the social chair of the White House fraternity. That's essentially what the First Lady role was way back in the day. You were organizing parties, you were organizing galas, events, all of that stuff. You were a rich housewife. That was essentially what the role meant. You were called the quote official hostess of the White House, and you were to organize all the balls and the various events that took place there and in the nation's capital, all of these things. So with the first few presidents, that was primarily their role. It was social, and so they would continue a lot of that rich British aristocratic nature of just balls and very eloquent dances and parties and all of that stuff. So for the most part, that's what was going on in our early part of our country's history. The First Ladies remained kind of quiet when it came to their political views, when it came to their decisions politically, and they just kind of they were just kind of the social people. They were the ones who kept the relationships up with people and all of those things and all that good stuff. And they kind of kept by their husband's side and hung out all day, kind of like what women were originally held to in this country based on patriarchal standards. Then the role kind of started to shift in the mid 1800s because you had first ladies like Mary Todd Lincoln, who were pretty well known and very outspoken. And Mary Todd Lincoln, unfortunately, was caught in a lot of tragedy because she did lose her son. I believe his name's Willie. They lost him in 1862, but she was known for throwing huge parties, extravagant parties, being very outspoken about her political views. And a lot of people in the South, because Mary Todd Lincoln is from the South, thought that she betrayed her Southern roots and was kind of one of these first ladies to be, and she was one of the first ladies to really be seen in that national light because there was, the fucking half the nation hated her, right? They were the Confederate States of America. They're like, what the hell? She's just with Abraham Lincoln now. This is BS. So she kind of really brought the role to light at a certain point. Then you fast forward to the 1900s a little bit because this is when the role really started to become political. And it really starts with the pair of Roosevelts. So Edith Roosevelt, who was the wife of Teddy Roosevelt and the first lady when he was president, basically kind of slowly started to build out what the first lady role would do. It wasn't just the social role anymore, but they started hiring staffs and communication staffs and secretaries and all of these things and built it into sort of an office of sorts where they were actually doing things and becoming a part of the policies that were being made. So they were turning into kind of a more political office as the first lady. And so Edith and Eleanor Roosevelt each made their various contributions to that and to building out what the first lady would do. And they would work, the first lady's office would be in the East Wing, which is far from the West Wing and all of these things. And so it wasn't just a social position anymore. However, the first ladies still don't have a lot of policy power. They can really only be an influence on their spouse, which has been seen in a variety of ways, which could go a long way. You look at Franklin Delano Roosevelt and Eleanor Roosevelt. Eleanor Roosevelt tremendously influenced Franklin. But and there's some others, I'm sure of it, but that's about it. That's all really the first lady could do. So what exactly You were like, Anuj, these first ladies were building out offices. Like, you were just saying that there was some sort of role for them. What is the exact role that they had if they didn't have policy power? So here's the thing, right? And before I get into that, I was a quick mention to Jackie Kennedy for being. I mean, Jackie Kennedy is the perfect example of what a first lady typically was supposed to be seen as. Jackie Kennedy was seen as attractive. She was seen as the style icon, the celebrity, and she was known for everything else but her politics. And side note, Indian parents just love Jackie Kennedy. I don't know if it's just me, but Indian parents love Jackie Kennedy. Anyway, she was known for being a celebrity more than she was being known for actually making change in the country, which is what the first lady should be known as, especially if you're the president's wife. At least in my opinion, I don't know. I don't really know. But that's kind of started to change over time. So Jackie Kennedy, obviously being the exception, there have been first ladies like Rosalind Carter, Laura Bush, Barbara Bush, many who have done a lot of work. So let's go through some of them really quickly and some of the causes that these first ladies have battled for in the past. So you have Lady Bird Johnson, who's Lyndon B. Johnson's wife. She battled for highway beautification and safety. You had Betty Ford, Gerald Ford's wife, who battled for destigmatizing education. Hillary Clinton, who actually was the first lady to be integrated into the West Wing, and so she worked with them and really ran point person on healthcare administration, healthcare policy for the administration. Laura Bush's main cause that she was fighting for was childhood literacy. Michelle Obama's main cause was childhood obesity. Melania Trump, cyberbullying and discouraging that, as ironic as that may be. And Jill Biden, the current first lady in office right now, has made her policy focus to be helping military families. So the question is, how much of this has actually been accomplished? Because I'm going to use Michelle Obama as kind of a case study, right? Because this is the one I know the most about, in my opinion. My plate was a phase. Okay. My plate was a huge phase when I was in high school. What I remember of my plate was that, or not when I was in high school, when I was in elementary school. What I remember of my plate and Michelle Obama's initiative with trying to reduce childhood obesity were that there were posters all over the school telling us what our plates should look like. But the lunch lady still gave me double cookies and double fruit cups if I asked for it. And no one gave a fuck. My plate was kind of just thrown to the side in a lot of extents. And Melania Trump's cyberbullying initiative clearly hasn't gotten off the ground. I mean, where's that at? Like, like, where did these initiatives go? Betty Ford was destigmatizing addiction in the 1970s, but yet AA is still looked down upon in this country in 2022. What is happening? Why is there no follow through on these initiatives? Because I feel like if after their husbands complete their terms or finish the election or whatever, like the first ladies have moved on. I mean, no offense to Michelle Obama. I know everybody loves Michelle Obama and she's everyone's favorite person to love. But Michelle Obama just kind of left my plate and childhood obesity in the dust because what has she done since she left office in 2016? She wrote a book. She went on a huge book tour where she charged like $300 per person to even get into her freaking Q&A sessions. Believe me, I tried. And you get into, that she went on a huge book tour. She wrote a book, and now she was quoted in an interview recently saying that she wants to, quote, retire. She wants to retire. So, like, I mean, listen, I'm not faulting Michelle Obama for retiring. I'm not faulting her for any of these things. I just feel like and goes for a lot of first ladies. These feel like just passion projects that are half-assed and fully not seen through because each lady's got a different focus and they're going after these broad, huge, big picture issues. So you can't solve a lot of these things. Destigmatizing like addiction, highway beautification, all of these things are still issues. There hasn't been fundamental changes to any of those things. So what is the solution to actually making the first lady position useful within America? In my opinion, it's to really just take one cause amongst maybe 4 or 5 first ladies, change it every 20 years, and focus all your attention on building that cause. I don't care if you are not passionate about that cause and you want to shift direction. Because when you shift direction, what happens is every first lady has their own cause. And then when the president or first gentleman potentially in the future, when that happens, when the president loses, the first lady slash gentleman in the future is just going to leave. They're just going to dip. And then that passion project is just going to be half-assed like the rest of the first lady initiatives have been for the last 50 years. So what are we really doing? What are the first ladies really doing? Right? I don't know. I don't know. I think the coolest part of the first lady was I mean I don't like Hillary Clinton. I don't really give her a lot of credit, but I'll give her credit for this. I mean, it's super cool to see her back in the 1990s just tapped into the policy side of things and helping her husband out as much as she could. That's cool. That's cool in my opinion. But here's the thing: are we going to see a lot more of that in the future? I don't know. I mean, I saw Vice. I saw Vice, which is like this, which is the movie about Dick Cheney, where he basically takes the ceremonial position of the vice president and turns it into like a huge ruling chair where he basically controlled it. Are we going to see a first lady control the president through seduction? Are we going to see a first gentleman, smoothly uh, become a de facto president? Are we going to see a first lady just like be an alpha boss and take over and become the freaking president of the United States through being a first lady? I don't know. I don't freaking know where the future of the first lady position is going, but it's just thoughts to think about because what really is the first lady doing? And I'm not trying to understate the importance of the first lady. Okay. I know the first lady's been important and they can be really good unifiers for the country and they can go tremendously underrated. But I don't know. I feel like there should be some changes to the position. And that's all I'm saying. Okay. Or maybe they should actually get to work with the presidents and be more actively involved in politics if that's what they choose to do. Or they should just keep normal civilian jobs. Like whatever they were doing in the past, like just do that. Just do that. Live their life. Why do you have to go after a cause if you don't want to? Like, I don't know. Anyway, that's my thoughts on first ladies. And that's the show that I have today. We're wrapping it up. Hour and 9 minutes. I know this.